Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a quick video, but this is Trigger Words Volume 2. The first one was about submission. Today we're going to talk about the word independent. Independent is a funny word because generally it usually comes from a person who is actually, it usually evokes the emotion of the person who's actually using it when describing themselves. Um, and it's also a very, number one, divisive word, and number two, um, overrated word. When you think of the word independent, independent means not needing assistance from anyone or anything, okay? So, how many people in this world are actually truly 100% independent? The world functions as a circle. So, we all depend on different things. We depend on being able to breathe air. So, if we just started there, if the trees aren't functioning and cleaning the air that we breathe, we have an issue. So we depend on the trees, all right? So that's just a brief synopsis of the word. So when we're talking about independent in regards to how it is utilized, and the fact that when it is utilized, if you say someone is independent, if you say to someone that you're independent or whatnot, it's a flattering term. You know what I'm saying? It's usually considered to be a positive, flattering term. However, when someone says it about themselves, when someone says I'm independent and they're saying it about themselves, it's usually used in the term of, this is what makes it funny because it's the same word, it's meant in the same context, but it means two different things. When someone says it about themselves, it's saying about a certain person, I don't need them or I don't need you. If they're saying it to that person, it becomes I don't need you. All right? Yet, generally, when you use the N word in the word independent when you're talking to them, it's in context to something that you ask them for. Generally, when it comes up that this person is independent, it's in regards to the fact that they didn't get something that they feel like they deserved, which means you actually think you should be dependent on someone doing something for you. So, like I said, this is going to be a very short video. The funny thing about the word independent is, like I said, it evokes the emotion of the person that's actually using it. So they're actually triggering themselves by using it. The volume of a woman's voice changes whenever she uses the word describing herself independent. And of course, nothing I'm ever going to say is 100% true. But in most cases, that's what actually happens. A person uses the word independent, and then they become belligerent. They become loud. They become obnoxious. And it's basically stroke your own ego because you feel like you shouldn't have to do all of this stuff. All right, but you just want credit for doing the things that need to be done, which is dangerous, really, if you really think about it. It becomes dangerous. And then when you sit back and you looking at a person in their eyes, telling them how independent you are, and they're contributing to your life. And in other words, if you have someone that you have children by and they're doing things and adding things to their children's life, you can't look at them and say, as long as you are accepting those things, no matter how big, how small, as long as you are accepting those things, that's one less thing that you have to do. So you're not exactly independent. Okay, even in that situation where you may say that, if he's putting food on the table, if he's giving money to the situation or whatnot. See, a lot of times what we forget is this life, when you you lay down to reproduce. That's what you're supposed to lay down to do, to reproduce. Sex wasn't meant to be recreation, y'all. We're the only species that has sex for recreation out of thousands of species that exist. Every other species have sex to reproduce. All right? Human. Only one that has stipulations on what sex is supposed to be. All right? So you lay down and have sex to reproduce. You reproduce to be a family, meaning You're not. No parent is supposed to be on the outside in a different house than their children, in a different domain than their children. No parent is supposed to live like that. All right. So a lot of times, what a man is getting punished for in these situations, maybe I'm getting a little bit out there, but what a man is getting punished for is not being in touch with the needs of the child all the time because he's not in the house. Now, if you have a person who doesn't communicate with you correctly and feel like it's all about them and all about their world or whatever the case may be, then he might be looking from the outside in. Which leads to what? You end up going to the system or whatever. In which case, if you utilize the system for whatever, you're not independent. If you get child support, you're not independent. If you get government assistance, you're not independent. If you get government housing, government funded housing, you're not independent. So when we look at these situations and we're talking about these situations, let's stop. First of all, you're lying to the people, but mainly it starts with stop lying to yourself about what your situation is. Be fully aware of your situation and who you are in that equation. I gotta go. It's time to punch the clock. I will holler at y'all soon. Show off.